Is Amorim beyond reproach? For example, should Amorim be forgiven for what happened in the Europa League final? Is Amorim, totally blameless? And the honest answer is no. Of course he's not. He's on thin ice. Some United fans are Amorim out. Some ex-players are clearly Amorim out. And some of the press are Amorim out. Now, as somebody who's Amorim in and doesn't want him to get sacked because the situation he's been put into is disgusting, it still doesn't mean that everything he's done makes me think he's secure. I think that the Europa League final was such a big game for us. If we'd won that game, Romano's 99% sure we'd have got Gyökeres. If we'd won that game, Delap might have chosen us over Chelsea. If we'd won that game, we'd have another £100 million to spend, and we'd have a load more revenue coming in because we'd have another 15, 16 games. People forget about that. So that game was huge, and he completely and utterly mismanaged it in 4K. Spurs don't park the bus. He couldn't deal with it. He absolutely couldn't deal with it. One of the worst games I've ever seen, but if you win it, you don't care. We lost, and we deserved to lose. And he got a lot wrong. He got his subs wrong. He got his team selection wrong. It was a really bad display. And I think even I still look back on that and go, that worries me. I've always had an excuse for it. The system's not, ain't got the players he needs a pre-season. But that was, as a one-off, shocking. Also, keeping Bruno is going to be on him. He decided he didn't want £100 million, which would have covered the European money. He didn't want to lose Bruno. It wasn't worth the £100 million, which I sort of agree with if Bruno's a 10. But if you're playing him in a midfield, you sort of like go, hold on a minute. I know a player that's better than Bruno in the midfield who will cost you 20 million quid. His name's Richard Rios. So, he's made a couple of decisions that you would go, they're brave. And I hope he gets proven right. But look, he's not beyond reproach, and he is going to be on thin ice if the season starts, which is what I'm concerned about. Because actually, that's not his fault he's going to be on thin ice at the start of the season, because he's not been given any players apart from Cunha, and that's not enough. So I think that's a great question, Blake. He's obviously still going to be learning, but the enormity of the job post Ten Hag, you need 2 years. You're never going to get 2 years. He's acknowledged that himself. He said that we're going to suffer, and when we suffered, people were saying Amorim out. So the interesting thing is, if Amorim was to lose his job, who would you bring in next? Who would you bring in next?